Hello, everyone, and welcome to this week's episode of the Open Mike Podcast. The Open Mike Podcast, unofficially brought to you by Liquid Death. Murder your thirst. Don't just quench your thirst. It's hot as I don't know what outside. Humid, typical June weather, summer weather. We're getting excessive heat warnings, the whole nine. So, water just don't cut it. And we're not drinking Gatorade. We're not drinking colored water, colored sugar water, right? Liquid Death will murder your thirst and also quench your thirst. Try Liquid Death Dead Billionaire. It's lemonade, iced tea, 19 milligrams of caffeine, no sugar, all natural ingredients. It's delicious. It reminds me of the lemonade tea that my mom used to make when I was a kid. I love it. Quench your thirst. Let's not be weird. Liquid Death. Call me. Hit me up. Sponsor me. Let me help you. You help me. Liquid Death, Murder Your Thirst. Hope everybody had a great week, great weekend. Hope everybody's enjoying the weather. A lot of people going on vacation, going to the beach, getting it in. Hope everybody's being safe. Anybody works in the heat, be smart, stay cool, stay hydrated. It's important. We go over a lot of safety stuff in my job, make sure employees understand the warning signs of heat exhaustion, things of that nature, but I try to stay on top of that. Um, and so, uh, another week has gone by. Um, the year's halfway over, and it's time goes by, as they say. Time flies when you're having fun, I guess. Um, but today, I wanted to talk about. It's been my dad passed away a year ago, and it's been a year to the day, and I just wanted to talk about that for a little bit. Anyone that still has their father, their parents, their grandparents in their lives, don't take that for granted. I know a lot of times in life we tend to take things for granted, not on purpose, and sometimes it just happens. If you do still have both your parents in your life, give them a hug, let them know you love them every day, and tell them how much you appreciate them. Um, because when one's gone, uh, that it's over, right? Like you can't pick up the phone, or they're not going to call you, or they're not, they're going to message you or whatever. And I just wanted to talk a little bit about my dad today. Um, my dad was he didn't come from much. He was a hardworking man. He a jack of all trades. Like my dad was a carpenter, a plumber, electrician, whatever you name it, he did it, right? But he didn't do it for a living. If we needed plumbing work at the house, he'd do it himself. If we needed carpenter work, he'd do it himself. He was just a handyman, he's a hand, he's anything we needed, he'd work on himself. And it wasn't always the greatest, but it got the job done. And we didn't have a lot of money growing up, so I felt like my dad, he did a lot of that stuff, right? And yeah, he'd lose his temper sometimes working on a car, and would, chuck a wrench or a hammer or a part sometimes across the driveway. We didn't have a paved driveway; we had a dirt gravel driveway that we parked in. So, um, we worked on stuff right there in the driveway. No garage, no lift, just a. We didn't even have like a like a garage jack you can use. Like he used some. I still got an old jack that he had. I mean, that thing was old school jack, and had like a little piston on it. It's the old. um, but yeah, my dad, he did what he had to do, to make a living, and he retired, and he offered to send me to college with his retirement money. I told him no. I was tired of school, didn't know what I wanted to be, didn't know what I wanted to do, still don't. Um, I have a career I've been in for 16 years now, but it's not what I planned on. Like if somebody said, "Hey, do you see yourself here in 16 years?" 20 years ago, I'd have said no. Um, I still don't know what I want to do, but my dad always made do with what they had, him and my mom, and he always supported us no matter what. Even if he didn't probably agree with what we were doing, he still backed us. He still stood behind us. Um, he was he was a funny, caring individual that is missed dearly by a lot of people, not just family but friends. Um, he liked to joke around. He hated going grocery shopping. He most time would sit in the car and then complain because mom took too long because she probably found somebody she was talking to, which she did that a lot. Um, Now he worked on our bikes. He worked on cars. He worked on everything. He built an entertainment center one time. It was not great looking, but to him, it was something he was proud of because he built it himself by hand, and it made do. It was I still have an old stool that he made, and he would whittle things out of wood, and they didn't look good. But as kids, we didn't know no better. We just appreciated it. And a lot of times, it was about the thought that was behind it. And I have a million stories to tell about my dad and all my siblings. We had a little memorial, cookout for him today, and we shared some memories. And um, yeah, I have a lot of memories to share. Um, but my dad always made sure others had, even if he didn't. And he would stand up for a lot of people that didn't stand up for themselves or couldn't stand up for themselves or be a voice. He was always the voice and the person to stand up for them. And was he perfect? No, nobody is. But to me, he was. I have two heroes in my life. One is my dad. The other one is my mom. And if I could be half the father my dad was to me, then I've accomplished something in life. So, um, my dad. There's a bunch of stories. He loved to go to Charlestown. He loved to, gamble on horse races, and he just enjoyed it. Enjoyed the environment. Enjoyed being around that. And there was one time we went over there. I'm not a gambler at all, but we went over there and I bet this race and it hit, and I was like, I told you," and he was so happy. He was so proud to share that moment with me. And then I drove home at night and got a flat tire. So that's why I don't gamble. Money easy come, money is easily gone, and that's what happened to me. And yeah, I remember there was another time he was trying to teach me how to drive 5 speed, and the car's like buck jumping like that, and he's like, "Yeah, I can't do this. You gotta teach yourself." And I did. I did end up teaching myself. Like I said, he was a patient man, but he always complained, lights are on. Why is there a light on in the house and we're leaving the door open? Who's got the refrigerator door open? That all that type of typical parent stuff, right? And then when he came, my parents came to live with me, it's like he did all those things. It's like uh so it was like payback, I guess, for me doing all this stuff when I was a kid and my siblings. So um a lot of my family, we have a lot of stories to tell about my father, but my father is missed by many, and um, you know, I just want to reflect back on him, and just let everybody know, like, hey, um, you can't do anything to prepare yourself for losing a parent. Uh, you'll get through it though. I promise you, you will. But you'll never forget, right? Like it's kind of like someone told me, it's like a rock in your pocket. The rock is heavy, but over time it gets lighter because you get stronger, but you can still feel the rock in your pocket. It's always there. And I thought that was a good way of putting it. And you know, um my dad he did anything, man. He retired, he went to work for himself, recycling, car batteries and engine. He'd strip all the aluminum out of them, take them to the recycle place, get money. He had an old Dodge van. It's called, had junk on the license plate. Bill's hippie van. My dad's name was William. They called him Bill. And yeah, he a lot of memories. We used to go camping, a lot right on the river, and would fish all the time. He taught all the grandkids how to fish, and uh, yeah, it's just we all miss him. Um, he never showed emotion very often, as far as like he'd show happiness, but he never showed sadness. I remember when my older boxer passed away. My dad loved that dog, and that dog loved him. And he went outside and cried, sitting on the porch that morning when she passed. And he was a thoughtful man. He was funny. He liked to joke. He liked to, you know, give people a hard time. Kind of joking around. He did that for my mom a lot. And I'm appreciative of the man I had as my father, and hope that I can only be a fraction of the father he was. And he's missed, and I just want everybody to, everybody that's still got their father or the mother, let them know you love them, let them know you appreciate them, and don't take it for granted, because when they're gone, they're gone. And no matter how annoying our parents can sound sometimes, when they're gone, you're going to wish you had that annoying parent back. And so don't take life for granted. And yeah. So, but anyways, hope everybody's had a good week. And, we're just chugging along on the Open Mike podcast. And we're going to, I got a new segment I want to introduce this week. And but I wanted to talk a little bit about, I'm always going back to the 80s and the 90s, right? The years of my childhood. And like toys that were forgotten from the 90s, right? And I don't know uh how many people remember toys that they had from the 90s. And I feel like back in the day you had like GI. I'm thinking about like cartoons, right? Because a lot of cartoons, they created toys based off of cartoons, and it kind of went hand in hand. So you had like GI Joe and Transformers and He-Man, and um there was a cartoon called Mask, and you had like Voltron. um so they made action figures, even Star Wars for the movies. They had made, toys for all these movies and these cartoons. And um I feel like there was a lot of toys and stuff from like the 90s that they didn't have cartoons for. They didn't have shows for. So those things kind of went to the wayside. And one of them was like the muscle. It's like M.U.S.C.L.E. So muscle, they were like these little figurines that was probably about 2 inches tall. And they were like pigment color. Um, and you couldn't move them around. They usually bought them in like a little pail, or they was always in like packaging of more than one. um and it's they were so weird, right? But it was a Japanese thing. It was kind of like anime. And um they were so weird, like you couldn't pose them, you couldn't do any of that, but someone would have like a hand for a head. And I don't know, they were weird characters, right? Like some of them would have like hammers for hands. And then they start making them in like multicolors. And I'll post a picture so you guys can see, just to see if some of y'all remember. I'm trying to remember what muscle stand for. It's an acronym. Millions of unusual small creatures lurking everywhere is what muscle stood for. So, um, yeah, they were kind of cool. They were kind of neat. I thought so. And I collected a lot of them and lost a lot of them. So, but they were kind of cool. And then, like y'all remember Micro Machines? Like I was really into Hot Wheels and Matchbox and all that stuff, but then Micro Machines came out and they were tiny cars, and I thought they were cool, man, because they were so small. And the commercials were cool because the guy was like a speed talker, like a legit like speed talker, and so he would like talk so fast on those commercials. It was so funny. Um, Another toy is I think it was called Mad Balls. So they were these like small, like baseball, between like baseball and softball size little balls. They were like foam, kind of like a Nerf ball, but some of them looked like a mummy. Some of them looked like They were like different types. They basically looked like heads. And I remember I had a couple of those. Um, and then you had like all your arcades, right? But a lot of these we're talking about toys that most people don't know about, and it's because a lot of these toys that they didn't have they didn't have any cartoons, they didn't have any TV shows, they didn't have any of that. So a lot of people don't remember a lot of these toys, and they might not have been as popular back then either. They probably weren't as popular because they didn't have TV shows and they didn't have cartoons. Those Muscle Men, even though they come based off Japanese anime, they didn't have any TV shows here. Um, what's some other ones, man? Any of you guys want to talk about? Y'all want to email the show or hit me up, Open Mike Podcast 76 at Outlook.com. Tell me some of the toys you guys played with that you think people might have forgotten about. Popples. Popples was one. That might have been more from the 80s, but it was like these I don't know, they look like dogs. They were kind of in this little um looked like a little pouch kind of. Um what else we got? My Pet Monster. I don't know if anybody remembers that. It's like this stuffed animal. It had like they ended up making a talking version too, I think, and came on later. Uh but yeah, and then like you guys remember going to like McDonald's or somewhere and they always had toys. Like Happy Meals always had toys, and um I remember one time getting like iron-on designs for shirt. Y'all remember you used to get iron-ons for your shirts, and you would like take an iron, like you couldn't wait to get home. You put that like wax cellophane paper down, and you iron on these designs. I remember McDonald's gave out iron-ons before. Um, man, I loved the movie Gremlins, so I remember. I think it was Hardee's back in the day. It might have been Roy Rogers, one of those fast food chains. They had like little records, right? Because we had record player back then, and they would give out records for each, like for the movie Gremlins. It was a record, and each record was like a different part to the story of the movie. That was kind of cool. Man, I think about all that stuff now and how much it's worth. And then I think about like I had a lot of friends, man, growing up. Like they had toys they never opened, and I was like, man, why can we not play with this? And most time it was because their father was, kind of a, I don't know. The dads was like, no, you can't play with those. We're gonna leave them in the box, right? And I never understood that. I was like, how in the hell did y'all know not to open those? Like they'd be worth money today. Like 40, 50 years later, they're gonna be worth money. Like how'd you know that? But a lot of times I noticed when um friends of mine had toys that they couldn't open, it was usually because of the father, their dad, and most time their dad was kind of a asshole. Like he was not nice. Like I had one friend, his dad literally used to beat him with the belt buckle, and it's like he didn't even really. Nobody does anything to deserve that, but he definitely did nothing to deserve that. Then I had another friend one time. His dad found out he was collecting like baseball cards and stuff like that, and he had a lot, like a great collection. And his dad burned it in the fireplace. And of course, those kids grew up to resent their father. But when you I don't know. It's just weird that people hang on to toys. Like I got a friend of mine has a store. Uh, he has a lot of memorabilia stuff, and it's like, how did you know, man? How did you know to just not like all my toys I play with? Like I collected a lot of GI Joes, man. I was rough on them GI Joes. I was breaking arms and legs and everything else because I played with them. I wanted to enjoy them, and my parents bought them for me, so it's like, yeah, I'm gonna enjoy these toys, man. Um, so I wanted to. I played with my stuff. I didn't save anything. And then looking back on it now, I was like, damn, I wish I'd have would have. But you know what? I've got more joy now if some of that stuff's worth some money. Like, am I gonna be rich off of it? No. Like, am I gonna get enough to pay off my home or buy a mansion or drive a Lamborghini? Nah, hell no. So I took more pleasure in enjoying them in the moment, right? Like I got to be a kid, man. I got to play with toys that I enjoyed playing with. And Those old cartoons back in the day. I remember G.I. Joe. I mean, the G.I. Joe cartoons were always like, they were kind of corny, but at the end of every episode, they all told a message, right? Like say some guy pulls out front of your house, hey, little Jimmy, you want to go get in my van? I got candy or whatever. And by that time, one of the G.I. Joes would walk up and the van goes speeding off. They'd be like, now remember, we don't talk to strangers, they don't get in the van. We don't do things like that. It always had like some public service announcement for like children and kids and things to do and not do. Like I remember one time there was like a power line down. And they were like, don't go near, let's jump it on our bike. Let's jump over. No, 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 don't do that. That power line's live, it can shock you. Or, one time there was a fire in the house and they were, don't do this, run out, call 911, get the fire extinguisher. No, don't. So they always kind of had this message, right? Of like what you should do and should not do. And I always thought that was pretty cool. Um, And I think a lot of cartoons, a lot of shows like that, they kind of had a message, right? They told a story and they had a message. And I just remember GI Joe, because I love GI Joe. And then like you look at toys, like take Ninja Turtles for instance, like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. You look at the action figures from like in the '90s when the cartoon first came out, and action figures look like the cartoon. And then over the years, they've kind of changed, like their appearances changed, like the cartoons, like they made a couple different versions, and then they would come out with toys for each version of the cartoon. And in my opinion, the original looks the best, but that's just my opinion. And I remember showing somebody, a younger person at one time. They were like, "That doesn't even look like Ninja Turtles." Like, yeah, man. Like, and then the arcade, man, that's like one of the best arcades ever. Is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and they had another one was called Turtles in Time. I did have that arcade, and I got rid of it. But yeah, that's one of the. Yeah, that's a great arcade, man. I wish I had kept it. Should have kept that one. And I don't know if y'all can see. Like these are replicas, so you can't really see it here. There's like X-Men, Ultimate Mortal Kombat, Fast and Furious, NFL Blitz, Street Fighter. There's Golden Axe over there in the corner. I don't know if most people don't remember that, but that's like a. It's also got Altered Beast and Shinobi and Wrestle War, and then you got T2. Got yeah, got a little collection here. These are replicas. They're a fraction of the size. They're not as big. Take up less room. I've had some quarter arcade machines over the years too. They just take up so much space, and those things are so heavy. Those CRT monitors and those things weigh a couple £100. Then you got all that wood; they're just super heavy. And a lot of the older ones didn't have wheels. Once the '90s, 2000s came around, they started putting wheels on them, make them a little bit easier to move around. That give me a mint Oreo in. We're trying to thunderstorm today, but kind of went around us, but it did cool it off outside, so that's good. But yeah, man, I feel like '80s and the '90s greatest era. Music, movies, toys, gaming, great. Controllers back then had a directional pad, two buttons, a start and a select button. Now you got a Xbox controller. It's got a directional, two thumbsticks, two buttons on the top, four more buttons on the front, and then you got paddles on the back. It's like, damn, why we got all these buttons, man? And they all do something. Like games are so complex. I remember my nephew came up one time to play original Mortal Kombat. I mean, he's good on like the Xbox, like all the new ones. He got on that was like he was confused. It's only 5 buttons: high punch, high kick, low punch, low high punch, high kick, low punch, low kick, block. That's all it is. And then it's button combinations and controller combinations. It was like he didn't know what he was doing. It's like, man, this is way simple. But it was like so simple that it was hard. I don't know if that makes sense. But yeah, man, I think '80s, '90s greatest era. And of course, I'm biased. I grew up like people who lived in the 70s. They'll tell you that was the greatest, right? 60s, that was the greatest. It's all, it just tells you we had good childhoods, right? Because we feel like the years we grew up as we were kids and teenagers and young adults were the best years. Well, yeah, I don't know if I would say they're the best years. Like I enjoy my life now, being a father. So I wouldn't have wanted to been a father young. Not back then. I didn't know what the hell I was doing. And I definitely feel like as I've gotten older, you learn a lot more. You're a better parent. You're better suited to be a parent than you were at 20 or 18 or whatever. Um, so yeah, that's just my opinion, man. Everybody's entitled to share their opinion. Open Mike Podcast 76 at outlook.com. Feel free to email me. Tell me what you think. Um, but yeah, I wanted to start a new segment this week. And you guys can give me some feedback. Let me know what you think. But I'm gonna call this segment. So we're gonna read some interesting headlines in the news. And I'm gonna call this segment "What's Up?" Like, man, what's up with that? Like, what in the world? So we're gonna call this segment "What's Up?" What's up with that? So let's go to the Google machine here and see what we can find. Florida man arrested for calling 911 after his kitten was denied entry into the strip club. This man was arrested outside Emerald City Strip Club in Murdoch for repeatedly calling the emergency line to report that the club owner had refused to let his kitty into the jiggle joint, deputies said. The jiggle joint. This man was arrested for wasting the emergency line, the 911 line, because they wouldn't let his kitty into the strip club. He was trying to take his kitty to see some more kitty. I don't know. What's up with that, man? What's up with that? That's weird. Man once arrested for fighting drag queen with tiki torches runs from mayor. This man reportedly dressed in an ironic KKK costume at a Halloween party when he allegedly got into a brawl with a man in drag, leading to his bust for aggravated assault, but that didn't stop him from running for mayor of the small town 2 years later. What's up with that, man? You dress like the KKK out here fighting people dressed in drag. You think you're going to be voted for mayor? Maybe you did. Maybe that town was open to the KKK and didn't like people dressed in drag. I don't know, but what's up with that? What's up with people dressing like the KKK? It's odd. You're just asking for if you're dressing like KKK. Here we go. This is a very interesting one here. A couple, ages 31 and 25, thought they were stuck in a janitor's closet at Daytona State College for 2 days. 2 days, that's 48 hours. Before realizing they could just open the door and walk out. They spent 2 days, 48 hours in a closet, a janitor's closet, and didn't think to say, hey, let's just see if the door's open. What made them think the damn door was locked? They could have just walked out. What's up with that? What's common sense, as they say, is not common anymore. That's wild. Man, what's going on with my computer? What's up with that? How about that? Man, my damn computer ain't working. What the hell? What the hell's going on here? Come on now, computer. Florida man desperate for a ride to Hooters calls 911. This man allegedly told 911 dispatchers he needed a ride to the provocative eatery to help his grandmother who had fallen ill. Cops later learned the 28-year-old man's granny was perfectly fine and he was arrested on charges of misusing 911. Man, what's up with that? You trying to go to Hooters who food sucks anyway? Like, what are you seeing there? It's nothing appealing there. It might have been at one time. I might have eaten there a few times, or a couple dozen maybe back in the day. But anyway, um, and you try to use your granny as an excuse, even if she was sick. What the hell does that have to do with you going to Hooters? And then you gonna call 911 for a ride? Come on, man. Why didn't you just call her Uber? Probably ain't no money. Man, what's up with that, man? You trying to use your sick granny, then try and get the cops to give you a ride to the damn Hooters. What's up with that? Let's find one more. Wow, there's some really weird ones here. Some of them I'm not gonna read. I can kind of relate to this. Man protects car from hurricane by parking it in the kitchen. Dude drove his smart car inside his home and into his kitchen to protect it from flooding and wind. My husband was afraid his car might blow away, his wife said on Facebook. Yeah, I ain't gonna lie, I don't blame that man for that. You ain't had no garage, it's a smart car, it's small. I don't know what kind of doors he has on his house to fit the damn smart car through, but yeah, what's up with that? I ain't got no problem with that, man. What's up with that? That's not an issue. I'm a car guy though. Yeah, I damn right I parked my car in the house. I damn sure parked my car in the house to not have it damaged in a. Man, I worry. I'm so glad I have a garage. I couldn't wait till I have a garage. All right, last one, man. Last one. Man tries to evade arrest by cartwheeling away from the police. My man gonna do some gymnastics. Video footage shows 40-year-old man wiggling out of cops' grasp, then launching into a cartwheel outside of a shop in Orlando. The nimble escaped artist was later charged with battery on an officer. Why did he get charged with battery, man? But what's up with that? You trying to, if you're gonna get away from the cops, man, you better knees the chest and get it going. I don't think no cartwheeling is gonna do anything. Like they're gonna be impressed. Like, wow, this man can cartwheel and like distract him or something, man. What's up with that? And then he got charged with battery. What did he cartwheel and do some capoeira or whatever? How the hell you say that Brazilian dance fighting? He do some cartwheels and cartwheeled that man upside the head. Hit one of the cops. Come on, man. What's up with that? What's up with that? New segment this week, short and sweet. Let me know what you guys think. What's up? What's up with that? What's up? I've been hitting the gym this week. Feel pretty good. I feel kind of tired today though. The heat gets to me, man. After a while, the heat starts, kicking my butt. I ain't gonna lie. The heat definitely starts getting to me. Especially, man, when it's hot. Like like we had excessive heat warnings. We had excessive heat warnings this week. Like heat index is like 105. That's hot. What's up with that? That should have been a what's up on second. It's hot, man. It's hot. Man, I'm talking about AI for a minute, man. AI scares the hell out of me. I am not gonna lie. I've used AI, to take an image and kind of clean it up or make like I'll put pictures of my pets in there, right? And say, hey, make this look like a black and white, pencil drawing or whatever. And it does a phenomenal job. But every once in a while, you'll look at a picture and you're like, man, is that real? And then you see they got like 7 fingers. Or the eye might look like Sloth from the Goonies. Hey, you guys! Like, wait a minute, that don't look right. That looks like AI. And so AI, man, AI is AI is strange because you could tell it some things, man, and it's gonna like, hey, do this, do that, and it's gonna put it in, and it's gonna create, whatever. But there's people like I saw a guy the other day graduate from college. He was holding up his laptop showing like the paper that AI wrote for him to pass college. I don't think that was a good idea. I don't think that's a good idea. I mean, you like I feel like people nowadays you could become a singer, a rapper, whatever. You just go in AI. It's like, hey man, write me some songs, and I'm gonna go ahead and sing them. And it's like, how would you know? I mean, how would you know that they're using AI? I mean, I'm sure there's ways of telling, but still, no, I'm gonna do it right now. Why? Watch it. Open Mike Podcast. We're gonna sing a song. How's that? Here we go. Let's make a song about anything. Well, this might be a country song. Let's see. This song is called Best Friend with Four Paws. It's about a dog. Woke up to a wagging tail, sunshine on the floor. Paws are tapping down the hall, racing to the door. Floppy ears and happy eyes, he's ready for the day. Grab the leash, it's time to run, we're off and on our way. He's my best friend and with four paws, always there without a cause, chasing sticks and butterflies. Loyal heart, no need to try. Rain or shine, through it all, he'll come running when I call. Yeah, my best friend with four paws, that's my dog. Mud on the carpet, fur on my jeans, drooling on my pillow in my sweet dreams. But when I'm down, he knows just what to do. One tail wag and I'm smiling too. He's my best friend with four paws, always there without a cause, chasing sticks and butterflies. Loyal heart, no need to try. Rain or shine, through it all, he'll come running when I call. Yeah, my best friend with four paws, that's my dog. Golden shepherd, pug or hound, and every tale a joy is found. Old or young, big or small, there's a dog to love for all. They're our best friends with four paws, with their goofy little flaws, guarding hearts and stealing snacks, sleeping soundly on our backs. Through the barks and loving licks, they've got loyalty that sticks. Yeah, our best friends with four paws, forever dogs. God almighty. What y'all think, man? But yeah, I just sang a song. AI just wrote me a song. The best friend with four paws. Now, what y'all think about that? We can make a rap version. This could be a rap version, I guess. I got kind of a country twang to my voice, so I guess I don't know. Let's make a rap song. Let's make a um what we come up with. They made another song by dogs. DOG, that's my dog. Yo, put your paws in the air like you just don't care. Woof woof, let's go. I got a dog, he's a superstar. Rides in the back of my mom's car. Tongue hanging out, ears flopping wide. Windows down, let's go for a ride. He's got spots like a cookie crumb. Wags his tail like a little drum. He don't bark much, just says hey with a lick on my face to start the day. DOG, that's my dog. Bounce around like a bouncy frog. Zooming fast like a racing car. He's my buddy. My furry star, DOG, that's my pup. He eats snacks and slurps them up. Big or small, short or tall, dogs are the bestest pets of all. We chase balls, he chases his tail. Wears a bandana, he's never stale. Digs in the dirt, makes a big old mess, then gives me that I'm cute. Look, yes. Fetch it, roll it, sit and stay. He learns new tricks like every day. We dance, we jump, we laugh, we spin. With a nose like that, he always wins. DOG, that's my dog. Rolls in the mud, then in a ball. Shakes it off now. I'm all wet, but I can't be mad, not even a bit. DOG, that's my crew. He's got fur and attitude too. Sleeping tight at the foot of my bed, dreaming about treats and squirrels in his head. So if you see a pup today, give him a scratch and a shout. Hooray! Dogs are cool, and that's a fact. Now everybody bark. Woo, woo! That's a wrap. Bam! What y'all think? I can sing country, I can rap it, I can do whatever. But yeah, man, AI can write whatever you want. It's very interesting. Oh, man, you better not. You better not. Yeah. AI is very interesting. But yeah, I can see people using AI, man, to write whatever. Like you put math in, he can do everything, man. So how do you know? Like if you're in college and you're a professor or whatever, you're grading papers, how would you know? How would you know it's not? You know what I'm saying? How would you know? I don't know. Unless you gave them a test. Now, if you gave them a test, then yeah. Because if they just use AI to answer all the questions, they're not gonna memorize none of that stuff. So I had to do CPR training this weekend because every 2 years you had to recertify. And someone at my job, like they require at least one person on every site be CPR, first aid, and AED certified. So I usually am the one that does that since I'm the operations director there. So it's a small crew. So yeah, I went in and I know everything, right? Like, and the instructor there, she was having computer issues, and it was at the library. And for some reason, she didn't want to go get IT to come see what's going on, whatever. So about halfway through, she's like, I can't, do this, that, and the other. So she just let me. She's like, yeah, you know what you're doing. I've watched you. You've answered questions. Whatever. I think you know what you're doing. So I didn't even really have to do the cert. And I'm like, I don't know, man. I feel like go in there and get whatever's wrong fixed and make me take the course like I'm supposed to. Because you just assuming because I'm already certified, I remember everything, and I do, right? But she doesn't know that. That woman don't know who I am. So it's like you could potentially be sending me out there. Maybe I really did forget, and I need a refresher. You could potentially be sending me out there with this certification. I might not know what the hell I'm doing. I might get somebody killed. So that's important. I don't know. But I ain't argue with her. I went on about it because I didn't want to be in there anyway. Hopefully I never had to use CPR. I did help a woman that was choking. This was a long time ago, and I was not certified. I kind of knew how to do Heimlich, but I wasn't sure. I felt so bad for that lady. She was eating lunch. Wasn't nobody in the break room. I just happened to walk in, see her choking. Gave her the Heimlich. Man, she was so thankful, but she had like peed on herself. And I tell people that, man, when you're faced with a situation like that, if you really are choking, like you're dire, man, the first thing to go is you're gonna lose. You don't have no control of that because as far as you're concerned, like that, the signal goes to your brain. You think you're dying, man. Like I've heard of people having like heart attack stuff, and they'll soil themselves every time. And it's just your body. It's just a weird reaction your body has to if it thinks it's about to die. So, yeah, but um, I can't wait, man. It's July 1st is Tuesday, I think. So training camp starts in July for NFL, and then football will be here in September. I can't wait. We're gonna do, like I said, we're gonna do a segment every week. We're gonna do a recap every week of the previous week's games, and I might try to get someone to come on with me and I got friends of mine that play fantasy and do a lot of stuff. And I play a little bit of fantasy football too. So might get somebody on. We'll do a little segment each week, recapping NFL and what we think, talking about if injuries and crazy endings and stuff like that. I think that'd be cool. Yeah, one of my somebody suggested why don't I talk about the NBA. I used to watch the NBA a lot more, man. I just don't watch it like I used to. I watched the finals a little bit this year. I was kind of pulling for Indiana, but I didn't really have a dog in the race, so I didn't really care. It was a good series though. It came down to Game 7, but um, yeah, Indiana was tough. Indiana, young squad. They've been building over the last few years, and then but literally like the draft. Like the NFL, the season ends and then the draft comes on in like the spring. But like with NBA and like other sports, like the draft is literally like right after the season's over. Like boom, that's it. And then I think some sports has a draft like during the season. It's kind of weird. Um, I used to watch baseball, but I can't really watch that. Like that season's so long. Like I love going watching it in person, but watching it on TV, the season's just way too long, man. I don't even get into it till after the midpoint when they do the All-Star game, and then from that point forward, because it's just way too many games. I can't get into that, but I love football, man. Sports, there's a lot of adversity in sports. A lot of stories come out of sports, and that's a lot of good stories um, that are relatable in like our everyday lives, and that's why a lot of people are like, man, these rich crybaby millionaires and that, and I get all that. Like, trust me, I do. But there's a lot of good stories that come out of sports and come from sports. So I like sports. I like watching sports. And, I played football. I played flag football competitively. So football is number one. Numero uno. I'm mixing language. I'm not good at English. I don't know Spanish. But English is not my strong suit either. I hated taking English. The English language is so complicated. Like you can have three words sound the same, three different meanings. There, and there. You can be there, or it can be there, they are, or theirs, as in THEIR, they own it. And I remember when I worked for this company one time. It was a very diverse, right? Like English wasn't their number one language. So a lot of those people had learned English, but it was kind of a broken English. But man, if you wanted to really mess them up, like throw a monkey wrench at them, use one of those words that has like sounds the same but it's spelled three different ways and has three different meanings. You got to know when to use it. Man, they were just like, "What the hell?" Mind blown. Like, what the hell? Um, Yeah, that was fun. That was funny. But the English language has a lot of words like that where they sound the same and have aren't spelled the same and have different meanings. And the English language was not my strong suit. I was good with math. I'm good with numbers, not algebra. When they start putting letters in math, I'm out. I'm done. Don't put the alphabet in with the math. I get it, like I'm good at it, but I'm very good with numbers. Like I can memorize numbers and I can do all that stuff. So um, yeah, I don't know. I think it might be time for what everybody tells me their favorite segment, and I like it too. Everybody's favorite, everybody's favorite part of the show, Open Mike Mailbag.
You've got mail.
Let's see what we got here. Mail, Open Mike Mailbag. Let's go. Here we go.
You've got mail.
Karen in crisis 87 at gmail.com. Subject: You're not as funny as you think you are. So most of my mail, and I read through all the emails, right? And I choose certain ones to read, but this sounds like this might be someone that doesn't like my podcast. So, dear Open Mike, if that's even your real name, of course, my name is not Open Mike. I gave your show a try. A big mistake. You spent 20 minutes talking about old school car stereos like anyone under 60 cares. Bazooka twos, really? What's next? Floppy disk and pagers? Also, you call that a deep conversation? I've had more emotional depth from a fortune cookie. Sincerely disappointed, Karen. But not that kind of Karen. No, you sound like that kind of Karen. I think we all know. Uh, more emotional depth from a fortune cookie. Hey, look, if old school stereos and stuff, like my show isn't just about that, but yeah, I'm going to talk about some retro stuff. Anyone under 60, that's taking it. Like, yes, people, I'm not 60. So, yes, people my age are definitely under 60 are going to appreciate old school 90s throwbacks. Maybe old school car stereos, stuff like that isn't your thing, right? And that's fine. You know, I don't spend a lot of time on that. But Karen, I appreciate you listening to the show and I appreciate your feedback. And maybe this show ain't for you, but I appreciate it anyway. Um, I appreciate everyone to reach out and listen to the show. I appreciate everyone that I appreciate everyone that emailed the show. So, um, let's find that one here. Let's see. Here we go. Real Talk Mom 84 at gmail.com.
You've got mail.
Thanks for speaking on co-parenting. Mike, I just wanted to say thank you. I'm a single mom trying to figure out this co-parenting life, and hear your honesty on the struggles help me feel less alone. Sometimes I feel like I'm failing, juggling work, parenting, course stuff with your podcast. Remind me it's okay to not have it all together. Keep showing up. It matters, Melissa. Melissa, thank you for reaching out. Appreciate the email. Appreciate you listening to the show. And I want to say thank you. Thank you for listening to the show. And yeah, being a single parent, you know, being a parent is not easy, right? Like it's not for the faint of heart. But it's the most rewarding, the most difficult, most rewarding thing you'll do in life is raising a child. And when you have to co-parent with someone and you feel like you're alone, you know, that sucks, right? And it's hard, like juggling your work and your parenting and you know any other things that you have in life. Like you have to learn and find a balance, right? And it's hard to find that balance because you also have to take care of yourself, and you take care of yourself not for yourself but for your child, right? And you also have to take care of yourself for yourself, because if you're not taking care of yourself, right, if you're not dealing with stress throughout the day and you're not, then you're going to take it out on somebody. And most parents end up coming home taking it out on their kid. They don't yell at their kid because they spilled milk on the floor. That's not what they're upset about. They didn't deal with all the other stuff before that led up to that, and that was like the straw that broke the camel's back. And you end up snapping and flying off the handle and yelling at the kid. And then the next time your child makes a mistake, they're going to be afraid and ashamed. They're going to think you think bad of them. They're going to yell at them, and then they're not going to want to. They're not going to want to come to you, right? And I think as a parent, we should work on like making sure our child knows that I am a safe place. I am the safe space. Like everybody always preaches about, I'm the protector and I protect my child. And I do you protect your child from yourself though? That's the thing. Are you really that safe space for that child? Yeah, you know somebody's trying to kidnap them or you know beat their butt or whatever. Like you're like, yeah, I'm tough. I'm this, that, and the other, which is fine, but are you really that safe space they can come to you and say, hey, I made a mistake at school. I messed up. I need help. Can you help me? Can you talk to me? Or I'm at a party and I'm with some friends and they're drinking and I don't want to get in the car with them. I don't have another way home. Or I've been drinking, right? I know you're going to be mad. I'm underage. I shouldn't be drinking alcohol, whatever, but I'm at a party, peer pressure, whatever. Can they call you and say, hey, dad, mom, I need a ride home. I need a way out of this party. I need to get home safe without you berating them. Because if you do that And you can give them a talk, right? Like, hey, look, you know the dangers of drinking and driving and riding with someone, and you're underage and this, that, and the other. Because let's not act like any of us never did any of that, right? Like, let's be real. So, um, before I go, Karen, Melissa, I appreciate you. Not a Karen. Melissa, thank you. I promise you, it's hard to juggle these things, but you have to deal with yourself first, your mental health, work on that, talk to someone, go to therapy, make sure you're doing what you're doing, and just be there for your child, man, because time is free. And I think you're doing a great job. The fact that you emailed me about all this tells me you care, and that tells me you're a good parent. So, but yeah, I want to be able to be like, yeah, call me. I'm your safe spot. I'm your safe place. You can come to me with problems. You can come to me with issues. I'm not gonna I'm not gonna judge you. I'm not gonna I'm here for you, right? And I think we all should parent that way. That's just my opinion. I'm not telling other people how to parent. I think that's how we should parent. Um and I just that's just my opinion on it. Now, everybody's got their own opinion. Entitled raise your kids however you want to raise them. I raise mine that way. And think it'll work out. I don't think beating a kid does anything. That's just my opinion. Makes them afraid. I'm afraid they're going to mess up. Do you really want your child afraid of you? Like, yeah, there's always a little bit of fear, right? Like, you're older, you're an adult, you're bigger. They're already going to be kind of afraid just based off of that. So, oh, yeah. Let's see. Let's read one more. One more email. Let's see what we got here. Let's see one more. This is a weird one. Let's read this one. Tinfoil Tony.
You've got mail.
Tinfoil Tony at gmail.com. Subject: you're on the government's podcast watch list now. Okay, bro. Mike, ever since you talked about 90s car audio, my Lexus has been acting weird. Coincidence? I think not. I heard a bass drop in my sleep, microwave blink, Morse code at me, and my neighbor's chihuahua won't stop barking when your podcast plays. Stay woke, bro. Tony, 2-time listener, full-time conspiracy realist. Tony, thank you for the email and listening to 2 of the episodes. Try to listen to them all if you can. I appreciate it. Also, don't forget to...
For more awesome content, like and subscribe.
Don't forget to like, subscribe, follow YouTube, iTunes, Spotify. And listen, Tony, if your chihuahua's barking when my podcast is playing and it's your neighbor's dog, then you're probably playing it way too loud. I don't feel like your neighbor's dog should hear my podcast if you're listening to it. And if you're hard of hearing, then maybe you need to deal with that. But microwave blink Morse code, come on, man, y'all, you gotta be just making this is just made up. This can't be real. Microwave blink Morse code. I heard a bass drop in my sleep. Now that might have been because you were dreaming about bass. How low can you go? Maybe you were dreaming about boo. I remember old bass CDs, man. It'd be like Ghostbusters. The Ghostbusters opening theme. And it'd be like a bass drop from hell. Boom. It's like, God. Stay woke, bro. Tony. Tenfold Tony. That tells me all I need to know. I'm not on the government's podcast watch list. I hope not. And if I am, I hope it's in a good way. But Open Mike Mailbag. If you guys want to email the show, criticize, tell me the show's great, tell me the show sucks, whatever. You want to share a story, you want me to read it online, you want me to read it on air, let me know. My podcast, 76outlook.com. I appreciate each and every one of you guys. I love everybody from the bottom of my heart. I appreciate all the love. Man, people tell me, more and more people I see out, they're like, hey, man, listen to your podcast, love it. Man, that means so much. Like, you guys will never know how much that means to me. And hopefully I'm able to, you let me be a small part of your life, and you guys are a small part of my life, and hopefully I help and make a difference. That's why I started doing this, to um, just talk about certain things and maybe give people some laughs throughout the day and just kind of take their mind off of things and let them know. But man, generally, if somebody needs to reach out, man, Open Mike Podcast 76 at Outlook.com. I'm always here. If you need someone to talk to, you just need I'm more than willing to listen an ear or an eye to read. And if you truly need some help and you're struggling in some area, man, reach out to me and I'll see what I can do. I'll do the best I can to help you. But remember, like I always say, tough times don't last, but tough people do. Peace.